unit. And that is unit 2, which is probability. Okay?
Okay.
Not everybody get excited at one time.
I'm excited.
Yeah, be quiet. You still want to fail.
I ain't.
Probability. I don't know what it is with this positive thinking y'all are having, but it's useless. Probability. What is probability? Well, I like to explain it by telling a story. Okay? Back when I was teaching at the Pendleton campus, I used to go, of course, I live in BFE, so I have to go the BFE way. And in Anderson, there's a famous land or monument. I don't know if you call it a land monument, but it's called the Double Bridges on Highway 24. And let's see, this way is the marina, and this way is Wild Hog Road. And if you know anything about Anderson, there's Wild Hog Road, and then people from around here call it Highway 187. Okay? It's not Highway 187. Highway 187 is down here beside the Bilo down here. Okay, this is Wild Hog Road. Okay, Wild Hog Road goes from Highway 24 to Pendleton. Okay? Pendleton High School, right there. And get up here, right in here somewhere. There's a left-hand turning lane, and there's a right-hand turning lane, and then the dang old Waffle House, a brand new Pendleton Waffle House, is right there. Okay? Now, it takes about 15 to 16 minutes to get from my house to that intersection. Okay, I do realize that there's probably some males out there that can travel it in 30 seconds. Okay, there's always a male in the group that can travel somewhere faster than anybody in the world. Okay, if you ever talking about traveling somewhere, I went to Panama City last. How long did it take you? About 8 hours. I could get there in 3.5 hours, whatever. Girls, when you meet somebody like that, run fast as you can. Run away. All right, Wild Hog Road. You get on Wild Hog Road. What's special about Wild Hog Road? It's a 2-lane road. Okay? It's 2 lanes. It's about 6 or 8 miles. 2 lanes. Okay? And it's very hard to pass. And as soon as you get, if you're in a hurry, I got an 8 o'clock class to get to, and it's 7:45. I can make it, but what's going to happen is the Little Blue-Haired Ladies Club is going to pull out in front of you. And the Little Blue-Haired Ladies Club, what's their top speed?
He's talking about me.
35 miles an hour. What?
She said he's talking about me.
What? No, you're not the little boy. 35 miles an hour. And that's going downhill with the car loaded so it gets its maximum velocity. It's 35 miles an hour. They've got the cruise set on 35 miles an hour. So you can forget getting there by 8 o'clock. You get there by 8:30 when you get on Wild Hog Road. That's why a lot of people don't go down Wild Hog Road. All right? Now, you get up to Pendleton High School, and you got about a quarter mile before you get to the red light. Okay? And right about here, you say unto yourself, you know what? That woman's going to turn left because that's where I'm going. And as soon as you get up here to the thing, that left blinker comes on. Boom! You can see into the future. Right? No, you cannot. Nobody can see into the future. Nobody can see into the future. Now, this is where I get students go, oh yeah, I got a cousin that they can see into, they interpret dreams. Okay, you're a nut for believing them because they are a nut. All right? Who comes up with the dream? You do. All right? Your brain comes up with dreams. It's been scientifically proven that dreams are clutter of your brain, okay? Mixed in with imagination and a little bit of realism and clutter. And it's just boom, and creativity. All right? You make it up. So why do you need somebody else to interpret your dreams? To tell the future. Okay? I had a friend like that. Okay? I can't handle that. That's ridiculous. All right? Why can you not predict? If anybody tells you that they can predict the future, all you got to do is ask them one question. And what is that question? Anybody know?
What numbers can I play on the lottery?
Who said that? Woo! Who said that?
Me.
No, I sound like drill instructor on Full Metal Jacket. Who said that? All right. That is a good, out of all the years that I've been teaching, you're the first person that's ever answered it right off the bat. Okay? That's right.
Okay.
Ask one question. Miss Chloe, that got busted, or what's her name? Miss Chloe, that was on TV, 1-800, I'll tell your future. She got busted. She got thrown in jail because she was fraudulent. You cannot tell the future. You can't. Okay? The only way you can tell the future, Back to the Future 2. What did he do? He went by the pawn shop, and what did he grab? The almanac, the sports almanac for 2,000 years, or however many years, since 1950. That's the only way you can tell the future, is go in time, grab something, and come back. That's it. Well, guess what? We can't go back and forth in time. So until that day, we can't tell the future. So all you got to do is ask one question. You meet a psychic. You meet somebody that can interpret dreams and they can tell the future. You meet somebody that says they just faint, and then when they wake up, they can okay, just faint and give me the 5 lottery tickets or 6 lottery numbers. Okay, and here, here, write it down. Take it with you when you pass out, because they can't do it. All right. Well, I got a cousin, and she'll talk to you. All she's going to do is narrow it down, or they're going to narrow it down by deduction. They're going to use what's called experience, and they're going to use 50-50 probability, and they're going to narrow it down to where you give them the answer that they're going to give you for your psychic reading. You ever played the game, okay, I'm thinking of a number, and you do this, and you do this, and you do this, and you do this, or an animal, and you do this, and you ask this question, you do this, and you do this, and the person can tell you the number, or they can tell you the animal. That's what they're doing. It's nothing but deduction. Okay? So don't be swindled by these people. Okay? Now, how did you know that the little blue-haired lady was going to turn left? There's 3 or 4 reasons why you knew that. Somebody tell me what one of them is. What are they? Come on. I want y'all to speak.
Well, she has to turn one way, left or right.
Good job. It's a dead end. If you know Wild Hog Road, it's a dead end. So you know she's either going to go right or left. What's another reason? And that was very observant. Do you know Wild Hog Road, or you just looked at my beautiful artistic rendition?
I know that road.
Okay, that's what I figured. All right. What else? There's about 3 other things. What else? We're going to sit here until somebody says something.
There's a Waffle House they could be.
No, ain't got nothing to do with Waffle House. You go there when you're drunk. All right. What do you do? I mean, what's another reason that you can predict that woman's going to turn left?
Because that's just our luck.
No, that doesn't qualify. That's what I use. Okay? I guarantee you, if I was in a hurry, that red light would turn red as soon as I got there. Okay? If my life depended on me getting to Tri-County Tech at a certain minute, that light would turn red and it would stick red. No, I use that excuse. All right? Somebody give me a good one. What is it? There's 2 or 3 answers. But you're kind of alluding to it when you say it's just my luck. You're kind of getting there, but think about it a little bit more. Why would you say it's just my luck? Oh, come on, people. Think. Just going to sit here until silent, until somebody tries. At least tries. We've had 1 or 2 people try.
50-50 chance whether to turn right or left.
We've already done that one. It's written right there. Dead end. We got that one. Good try though. I'm going to fail. Come on. Is that the only blue-haired little old lady that's ever been on Wild Hog Road?
I believe so.
Huh?
I believe so.
Okay, so there's only one blue-haired little old lady in Anderson County.
They probably got a club.
So what am I trying to allude to?
There's more of them.
Okay, and is that the only one that you've ever gotten behind on Wild Hog Road?
Probably not.
Okay, then what am I alluding to? Duh! It has happened to you. So if it's happened to you before, what does that constitute? Starts with an E. X. Experience. 2. Experience. Okay? Now the third one. The third one could be associated with number 1. But you have to think a little bit more. Number 1 is a good one by itself because it's a dead-end road, okay? But number 3, or one of the 4, kind of, you could tell when she turned off of 24 this, even if you didn't know that Wild Hog Road is a dead end. Of course, I'm going to have to explain this because some of y'all are sitting there going, huh? All right. If you live in West LA, okay, West Lower Anderson, for some of you who don't know what that means. All right, West Anderson, West Lower Anderson. Actually, this is West Anderson because West Lower Anderson would be kind of like 28 bypass right there at the Walmart's right there. That's kind of West Lower Anderson. Then you got Lower Anderson and down here South Side. All right, West Anderson was kind of be, no, it's still south. Okay, I'll just leave it at south. All right, if you live in the Anderson, West Anderson area, and you live around the double bridges, you know that the only way to get to Pendleton without going around the world is to go what? Wild Hog Road. It's the only way. All right? You cannot go any other way unless you go further and hit 85, which is about a mile or 2 further past 187. I'm sorry, Wild Hog Road. So you already know that it goes to Pendleton. What does other people in Anderson know, West Anderson, know about that area? If you get on Wild Hog Road, that you're going, where else can you go from Wild Hog Road? You can either go to Pendleton or you can go what? To Sandy Springs. But there's a quicker way to get to Sandy Springs. Okay? So, what I'm trying to get at is if you see a car on Wild Hog Road, then you know it's an 80% chance they're going to where? Pendleton. They're not going to Sandy Springs. Because you could easily cut up, turn right, go across the double bridges and take Whitehall and then turn right there. There's 2 or 3 other ways to get to Sandy Springs, okay? You could have turned off of right here at the doghouse, right around here at the doghouse and go to Sandy Springs. You turn right up here beside Pendleton High School and take that way and go to Sandy Springs. So there's 2 or 3 rights that little blue-haired old lady could have took to go to Sandy Springs. So what am I saying? Knowledge. What do you mean knowledge, Hubert? Well, what did I say? If you live around this area, you have the knowledge to know that anybody that gets on Wild Hog Road is going to go which way? To Pendleton. Okay? All of this goes into that split second right before she gets to this median change, when she turns on, right before she turns on that blinker, you're thinking all this. Okay? And then, dead end, experience, knowledge, and then just because bad luck follows you everywhere. Right, Miss Show?
Yes.
That's the fourth thing, okay? But there's other fourth things that could be there, and right now I can't think of it. Why do I bring this up? Because probability is putting a prediction on an event. This is a Hubertism definition. Based on those three things: awareness, experience, knowledge, mathematical calculations, anything you want to put. You could put down here, you could put data. Okay, let's just put data. That would be mathematical. Okay? Take out dead end and put awareness. Awareness, experience, knowledge, data. ... I'll put that for those four things. And then I'm going to put using a number between 0 and what? 1. Meaning a decimal. Now, some of you may have, we mentioned the red light a while ago, bad luck. Okay? I was born and raised on a farm. Okay? And my dad always said there's always one. Well, he was referring to cattle, because when you're getting up cows, you could have 100 cattle in a pasture, and you'll get 99 up, but one will take off across the field. Okay? Same thing with people. You could have, let's say this is an office area, and all you work in this office area. There'd be one person in here that would screw it up for everybody else. Whether it be eating food in the office area, whether it be everybody getting off at 5 o'clock or getting off at 4:30 instead of 5 o'clock and going to the whatever establishment down the road for drinks or coffee or cake or whatever. There's always one that's going to go to the boss and say, no, they're planning on being at 4:30. We're supposed to quit at 5 o'clock. There's always going to be one. All right? Same thing here. You're taking your experience, you're taking everything that goes, and you're putting a prediction on that cow or that person that's going to screw it up. All right? This is no joke. I'm on a committee for hiring a couple of math teachers for the math department, and we needed a room, blah 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 blah. And there was 3 teachers in this room, and I emailed them and I said, can we cut a class short on blah 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 next week? Which means, what class? Y'all meet on Thursday. Tuesday we may not meet. I'll let y'all know by email. I'll have to look at the book and see. We may not meet Tuesday, but I'll let y'all know by email. Anyway, and I said, why don't we do this so we can use the Polycom room, blah 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 blah. Well, the other 2 teachers kind of said, okay. The other teacher said, yeah, we'll do a take-home assignment, da 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 da. One of those teachers sent an email to their department head asking if it was okay. Oh my freaking God! You thought we were asking to cancel the whole day. So, needless to say, everything got scrapped. There's always one. Same thing with this. So, experience, knowledge, data. What's data? Well, that's what we're fixing to get into today, is you're talking about what's the probability of pulling a king out of a deck of cards? All right, that's mathematical. There's 2 types of mathematical data, or 2 types of mathematical probability. There's the classic, or the theoretical probability. Mayberry probability is what I call it. Or the physical probability. Okay? Physical probability is what you actually do. Now, I can't do it with this class because I can't send a deck of cards up there. I could maybe over the weekend and then get lost and all that, so I'm not even going to try, all right? But when you take a deck of cards, and we're going to do this on the board, when you take a deck of cards, you not only have to read the question, you have to know how many kings are in a deck of cards. You have to know how many cards are in a deck of cards. So what I'm trying to get at is when you're talking about the data part of probability, you're not talking about math. Math is very, what? Very elementary. Why do people fail it? Because they can't read. Now, when I say they can't read, everybody in here can read. What I mean is, well, is there a difference between or and and? Yes. Okay. If I ask for a king, does that mean all the face cards, or does that just mean a king? When I pull ace, does ace mean 1 or does ace mean 11? You got to know, you got to read the question. The question will tell you those things, but some people just, and I'm one of the world's worst because I'm a guy. Guys don't read directions very well. Okay? We'll just read the question, the first 3 or 4 things, and say, oh, I know the answer. Well, down at the bottom of the question, it's got parentheses. Ace is equal to 11. And that changes the whole problem. Okay? So make sure when you do the data down here, make sure you put a little parenthesis and put read, like reading comprehension. Make sure you read the whole question and not just part of the question. Now, the 2 types of probability. I call the first one the Mayberry Probability. And you can look it up in your book. I don't know what they call it. Most of them call it theoretical probability. Okay? The Mayberry Probability. Why do I say the Mayberry Probability? Because what can you tell me about Mayberry?
Andy Griffith.
Andy Griffith. But what can you tell me about the town?
Small town.
Small town. That's good. That's not what I'm looking for. What else? What else can you tell me about Mayberry? Everybody's black and white. No, that's just the TV show, okay? Actually, there was 249 episodes. 149 were black and white. After 149, they were colored. Anybody want to play Andy Griffith trivia with me?
No, not really.
You better not. You'll lose.
Wasn't allowed to watch it. I don't know what
Huh? You weren't allowed to watch it.
What? My mom absolutely hates that show.
Wow, I've never met anybody that hated it. You're the first person in 20-something years. You're the first person that told me of somebody that hated it. I've never met anybody that hated it before. Oh, well, I've never met, technically, I've never met your mother. But anyway, there's something wrong with it. No, I'm just kidding. What else about Mayberry? Why does everybody love, except for one person in the world, why people love Mayberry? Why do people grab onto it?
Barney Fife.
Well, that's one reason. I'll give you that, because one from Barney Fife, that's why the show sucked after he left, after Disney grabbed him up. But why did Barney Fife leave? Because Disney wrote a contract for him to do movies, and that's why he left the Griffith Show. But anyway, came back for 5 episodes after that. All right? Besides Barney, why does everybody grab on to the Mayberry model?
Because it had positive values.
Okay, you're going there. You're going there. It had good values. Okay, what else did it not have? It didn't carry a gun. Okay, I'm leading up to something here. Just give me some leeway. Okay, didn't have a gun. Constant. Barney had a gun, but he only had 1 bullet. He was only allowed 1 bullet. Where did he keep the bullet?
Pocket.
In his pocket.
Pocket.
Good. Which pocket?
It's
Left breast pocket. All right. Anyway, go ahead. What else about the show? What did they not have? They didn't have guns. They didn't have what?
crime.
They didn't have any crime. Except for Otis. He'd come in on Saturday night drunk. They didn't have Waffle House, so they had to, go to jail. What else? What am I leading up to? No guns, no crime, good values. Oh, come on, people. Y'all just don't want to talk to me, or y'all just...
I'm
I just have
thinking.
no idea where you're trying to go with that.
Okay.
I'm trying.
No guns, no crime, everybody's happy, Everybody's got good values.
No negative? No
No
negative?
negative. You're getting there. Keep going. It's nothing but what?
Positive.
Perfect.
Utopia.
It's utopia. All right? That's why people grab onto it. What in the heck does that have to do with Mayberry? Or what does it have to do with probability? It's the perfect probability. It's the mathematical probability. When you're talking about the Mayberry probability, you're talking about the mathematical, theoretical. I don't even know how to spell theoretical, so.
Oh,
Okay?
that's rough.
Is that it? Theoretical? It's the theoretical mathematical probability. Let me give you an example. The probability of me pulling a king in a deck of cards is 4 out of 52, which is 1 out of what? 13? How in the heck did I do that? I don't even have a deck of cards. It's based on nothing but what?
Knowledge. You know there's
Mathematics.
4 kings.
It's
Yeah.
based on the mathematics of what? A deck of cards. What you know is in a deck of cards. Did I actually shuffle them? Did I actually deal them? No. That's why it's called the theoretical. You gotta hold your pinky up if you call it theoretical. Theoretical probability. It's the Mayberry probability. It's the perfect probability. It's the mathematical probability. Now, why do I call it that? Because if I tell you the theoretical probability, you're going to forget it. But if I tell you the Mayberry probability, it may stick. Okay? And I can't think of another show that was utopia except for maybe the Brady Bunch, and I could not stand the Brady Bunch. Okay? So,
Love that show.
well, that's why you're the way you are. Okay. All right. I did not like that show. I didn't like the house. I didn't like anything
I just
about
didn't
it.
like the fake grass they had outside.
Yeah, the AstroTurf, yeah,
That-
whatever it's called.
That irked me.
Huh? The green stuff that they have out there that you buy at Walmart. All right. So, you got the theoretical probability, but what about what's after the theoretical probability? And that's what I call the physical probability. And you write physical probability. I don't know what they call it in the book. I think they call it classic or something. Physical probability. The physical probability is what you do after you actually conduct the event. Now both are the number desired over the number of probable events. Both of them, the formula is the same. Okay? Now what's the difference? Mayberry is not observed, is not conducted. Where the physical, I give each of you a deck of cards, you shuffle them 10 times, and each time after you shuffle them, you pull out a card, and you see if it's a king or not. Okay, so let's say you do it 10 times. And this is what I do when I have a conventional class, not one across the county and one that I can't do it in this one unless I have some cards up there all the time. Take a deck of cards and I've shuffled them 3 or 4 times and I hand them out, fan them out, and you pick one. You pick a 3. Okay? You pick a 3. I'll write this down. This is actually doing it. Just think of us actually doing it. 3. Shuffle, shuffle, fan. You pick an 8. Shuffle, shuffle, fan. You pick a king. Okay? Shuffle, shuffle, fan. You pick a 2. Shuffle, shuffle. You pick a 8. Shuffle, shuffle. You pick a 4. Shuffle, shuffle. You pick an ace. Shuffle, shuffle. You pick a 2. Shuffle, shuffle. You pick a 7. How many is that? 5, 9, and then the last one, you pick a king. So, the Mayberry probability is 1 over 13. Somebody give me that decimal. What is 1 over 13? 0.08? 2 out of what? 2 out of 10, which is 0.2. Do they match? No, they do not. Why? Well, we're going to get to that in just a minute. Very rarely will they match. Very, very rarely. But you need to know the difference between the two. One is based on the mathematics. One is based on the observation or the conducting the actual event. Okay? Need to watch it. Okay? All right. Question on these two. Now, the formula for probability is the probability of an event, and that's the way you write it. P, parentheses, the event, whatever it is, in this case, a king. Probability, parentheses, of a king is equal to 4 over 52 mathematically. The probability that we observed when we conducted an experiment or an observation was 2 out of 10, which is 0.2. Now this leads us to the law of large numbers. What is the law of large numbers? Now they may have this in your book, but the best example of the law of large numbers was written in the Triola book, which was the book we were using before, and it wasn't broke, so we have to fix it if it's not broke. So it had a real good example in there. There was 2 students from a college, I'm going to say MIT, I don't know if it was MIT or not, but they decided that they were going to make an algorithmic coin. And they were going to flip this coin until they got the physical probability to match the theoretical probability. So they took a roll of quarters, and they took those quarters and they measured each one of them with a micrometer. They weighed each one of them to the 10,000th decimal place. They scanned each one of them with an infrared scan type machine and scanned each one of them. They put each one of them on a balance, some kind of a balance, that would be like a pinhead, and see where the actual center of it was, the balance. And they took all of that information on a roll of quarters. How many quarters in a roll of quarters? They go 40? Ain't it $10 worth?
Yeah.
Okay. They took those 40 quarters and they put all that information into a computer, and the computer spit out the average of all those numbers, and they took the averages and they made an algorithmic coin that was based on 40 coins. Everybody with me? They have this in the computer. It's algorithmically programmed where the weight, the width, the height, and the balance and everything. There's a quarter in this computer that is based on 40 measurements. Okay? They took that quarter and they put it in the computer, programmable, and they programmed an algorithm around it to flip it, and which side it would lay on, it would record it. Now, what is the probability of hitting tails on a coin? 1 out of 2, which is point what? 0.5. Okay? How long do you think, how many times do you have to flip that coin, that algorithmic coin they put in the computer? How many times do you think it was flipped until they got to 0.5 probability? So I want to take a stab at it.
Shouldn't take that.
Probability, the Mayberry probability of tails is 0.5. 1 out of 2, which is equal to 0.5. The probability of tails with that algorithmically generated quarter came out to be 0.49999995. And how many times did it take the computer to flip that coin to get that? 100,000 flips. 100,000 flips. Now, there's a lesson to be learned here, whether it's probability or statistics. If you want to keep your job in the future, if you want to win a prize or win a medal for doing the best job in statistics or probability at your school or at your place of work, are you going to be lazy? Or are you going to bust your butt and pull as many as you can to cover your rear end? Which one are you going to do? The latter. CY what? CYA. All right, let me give you an example. Let's say you work at the Crystal Palace up there in Greenville, right there where California Dreaming is, the Crystal Palace of Michigan. Okay, you work there, you're making some pretty good money because you're an executive. Okay, you're an executive with Michelin. All right, and your job is you are the quality assurance director of the Southeast Division of Michelin. So some of you that know what quality assurance is, what is quality assurance?
Works the way it's supposed to.
Good job. When a product comes out of the company or the industry or the building or whatever, you're the one that checks it. Where you're not the one, you're the director. So you're over all the plants in the Southeast. I know of 3 Michelin plants. One in Greenville at the Donaldson Center. One in Anderson. Star. It's not Star, it's Anderson. That's nothing. Anyway, and one in Sandy Springs. All right? Let's say that there's 5 in the Southeast. You're over those 5. You're not going to go to each one of those and pick up tires. But your department heads, the ones that are over each one of those buildings, you're going to call them and you're going to say, look, I got a presentation, a budget presentation for next year. I need to know your quality assurance numbers right now. And I need them within the week. Okay. As a director, the one getting paid 7-8 figures, okay, at that Crystal Palace, the one that's making the money. As a director, let's say that you got 5 plants, and one plant quality assurance manager pulled 10,000 tires. One pulled 8,000 tires. One pulled 12,000 tires. One pulled 10,000. And the last one pulled 200. Okay, you would say to yourself, okay, what? What would you say? And all the companies are BA companies, okay? All these 5 plants are BA. I mean, they're big. What would you say?
The last one might need to pull a little bit more.
Why?
Because the data is going to be messed up if it's...
Good job. Thank you. Take a bow. You did good. The first thing I would do is get on the phone with that 5th one, and I say, do you like your job? Then you need about what? 1,800 or whatever to make 2,000, 1,800 more or whatever to get to 8 to 10,000 or whatever the case may be. 6,800, whatever. All right. We need some more. 9,800. That's what I'm thinking. 9,800. You need 9,800 more tires, or at least, because I'm not putting what? Yeah, but what are you doing when you're putting that in your data? You're putting your neck what? You're putting your head on the
Line.
chopping block. Okay? You're sticking your neck out for all these people, and you're sticking your neck out for this lazy attitude disorder down here. Now, what's going to happen if you take that 200? Well, this is what's going to happen. You're going to present to the board of directors at the Michelin plant and say, okay, budget, this is fiscal budget 2019. What does quality assurance predict? Well, we predict that 58% or 42% of the tires that come out next year are going to be defective. And we're going to have to recycle them. And that's going to cost probably about $6.2 million. Okay? And then they put in there, okay, thank you, for 2019, put in $7 million for defective tires. Then 2019 rolls around, And it's not 42%, it's 58%. What's going to happen to you?
They don't question you.
They ain't going to question you.
They don't fire
They're
you.
going to fire you. And what about LAD man? Is he going to still have a job? Yeah. He's going to still have a job because you didn't do your job.
Yeah.
That's the law of large numbers. When you're dealing with whether it's a presenter or whether you're being presented to, the law of large numbers, CYA, law of large numbers, law of large numbers for statistics as well as probability. Okay? When I was in physics, motion, I think it's the second or third physics, we had to take a mouse trap. And I refer to this a lot because we had to take a mouse trap and put wheels on it and make the mouse trap go with the power of the spring. So you had to do a rubber band around the axle and put grease on the, well, you weren't supposed to put grease on it, but we did. And put grease on the axles and all this good stuff. We did everything we could. We shaved the bottom off. We tried to make that thing as light as possible because the winner got a good grade on the lab for that semester, for that unit. So we did everything we could to that poor mouse trap so we could get that grade. We did pretty good. But there's two things about this mousetrap car that we had to do. One is, instead of, he said, run it 10 times. We didn't run it 10 times. We ran it 25 times. Why? Well, sometimes the right wheel would fall off and it'd go off in another direction. One time, the rubber band snapped. Okay? We had to put on another rubber band. So there was 2 or 3 of those trial runs that we just, what did we do to them? We threw them out. There was 5 of them. We threw out the 5 worst times, or the 5 times that would no way end with the other 20 times. Why did we do 20 times when all we had to do was 10? Because we wanted the data to be tight. We wanted it to be a good number. Okay? So not only do you do law of large numbers to cover your rear end, you also do it because you want to put out the best product, whether it be a presentation or whether it be a projection for fiscal year 2019. Now, some of y'all are going into, you're not going into industry. You're not going into making mousetrap cars out of mousetraps. Okay? Some of you are going to be presenters. Some of you may be there's really no quality assurance manager in the hospital because either you're dead or you're not. But you I don't know what you call them, but there's people in the hospital that keep up with the floor statistics. Okay, Ms. Shope, am I correct? Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, so if Ms. Shope, let's say Ms. Shope works on 2 North and she's doing the study for the last 5 years, she's got to present. Okay, if she presents and she doesn't have her stuff together, she's going to look like a what? An LADer. Okay? If she presents and you ask an essay question, okay, then you're going to look like the LADer or the DADer. Okay? So it goes both ways. You've got to know the material both ways, whether if you're a presenter or you're covering your rear end, or if you are a person that's looking at the presentation. The main thing is, it's just like I told you before, when they were doing the primaries in the presidential election, and they couldn't find a guy, and Trump was winning everything, and they were going, oh my God, we can't have Trump as a president. All right, we got to get another man because Jeb, he's gone. All right, so we got to get another guy. So we're gonna get Cruz. That was his name, Cruz. Did I tell y'all this story and I forgot his name? Did I tell y'all this story?
Ted Cruz?
I didn't tell you this story. Well, anyway, you're in the presidential primary, the Republican primary. Trump was winning. And we can't have an outsider win, we can't do that. So they were pushing Jeb Bush. Push Jeb Bush. Oh, God, he was terrible. Okay? Jeb Bush. They put so much money. In New England, do you know how many, in the New England states up there, no, I think it was Maine, he spent like $2 million per voter, not 2 million, it was $23,000 per voter with the campaign. I mean, he was putting money into Maine, and he lost to Trump. And Trump had like $50 for each vote. Okay? The whole point is Jeb Bush was not going to be the nominee, so they had to switch to another one because they didn't want Trump, because he wasn't a politician. Okay? So they switched to Cruz. Okay, because he was from Texas, a big state. He'll win the primary. How did they do that? Well, right before one of the debates, it was after the debate. There was two debates, and it was about the third debate. Okay, and they had done trash Jeb. Jeb was gone. He wasn't going to do nothing. So they said right before the debate, it was on a Friday. I remember it distinctly. New polls done come out, and it was on all the news things, all the news outlets, fake news as well as real news. It was on both of them, okay? And it said, man, Cruz is going to win the presidency. His numbers are at 52%, and Trump is at 22%. And it was like, what? Because all up until then, it was all Trump was 30%, 35%, everybody else was below him. And then here comes, out of the blue, the night before the big debate. It was a big debate. It was in one of the big cities, like, I don't know, New York, Charlotte, big city. Anderson, Atlanta, not Anderson, Podunk. Anyway, and down at the bottom of the poll, it had N is equal to 200 and margin of error plus or minus 8%. It was real small. Really small. Okay? Now, as a presenter, I saw this. First of all, I gave money to 3 campaigns during the Republican. I gave it to the woman at HP. What was her name? Carly. What was her name? Carly. I'll just call her Carly. She was the head of HP. I gave to Dr. Carson, and I gave to Trump. I gave to all 3 of them. I gave at least $100, $200 somewhere, each one of them, because I didn't want a politician in. That was me. All right, so I'm sitting there watching these things, and I see this poll come up, and me as a mathematician and a presenter, or somebody being presented this information, what stuck out about this poll? Margin of error was, if it's above 3 points, you might throw it away, use it for, what do you put it in a bed, in a bird cage? Put it in a bird cage, because it ain't worth anything. What else? N is what? A national poll. How many people are in the United States? Ain't it 32 billion? Or 32 million, 32 billion is one of those. 302 billion, I don't know what it is. But it's BA, okay? It's a big number. And you're going to go out and you're going to put this on national TV, and you're going to put 200 people. I was saying this. I posted all over Facebook. I said, don't believe this poll. This is a hit job. Why did I call it a hit job?
Because they only asked 200 people.
They only asked 200 people, had a margin of error of 8% either way. So it's not worth it. But why would they put it on national television right before one of the biggest debates? So they could try to get people to start saying, well, you know what, Cruz is probably the best man for the job. Did it work? Hell to the no, it didn't work. Okay? And the reason I say that with such confidence is because I love when America stands up and takes up for itself. And this last election they did, and I like that. I don't care who you vote for. When you stand up and you do your research and you find somebody that you like to vote for, that's good. I don't care who it's for. Don't tell people how to vote. I can't stand that, and I can't stand when they do this, because this is just like saying, this right here, this poll is just like saying, okay, I don't care who you support, but you're going to vote for who I want you to vote for. And that's not right. You vote for who you vote for based on and that's for this right here. I was fuming. I put it all over Facebook. I said, this is a hit job. Do not look at it. And it was a hit job. And later on, It was sponsored by CBS. CBS, I think it was CBS that sponsored the poll. Okay? Now, a lot of people say, well, why do you think CBS? Well, that's who sponsored the poll. I can't help it with CBS, but that's who sponsored it. All right? That was a hit job. Now, the reason for me bringing this up is because I'm trying to lean you a certain way for the 2016 election. Yeah. Can I do that? No, it's in the past. Okay? The reason I'm showing you this is because as a person being shown this information, what did I do? I went bonkers. Okay? Now, you don't need to go bonkers when you're shown a presentation at the hospital. That's not what I'm saying. But do you know, should you know when something is not right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, you should. Okay? And whether it's Miss Shope trying to get more money for her department, or whether it's somebody trying to help out the fiscal year for next year, either way, you need to know. And that's what, remember me talking about bias? Okay? It fits into bias. And if you're a non-educated voter, what are you going to say when you see that poll? Oh, I think Cruz is probably better for the job. And that's BS. Okay? I can't if that's just about on the edge of, what's that P word? Propaganda. That's right near the edge of being propaganda. When they put fake stuff up and tell you or try to persuade you, and it just explodes. I'm sorry. That's a nerve with me. I can't stand it. I'm sorry. All right, so the large number rule. The large number rule backs up your numbers, whether it be probability or whether it be statistics. And therefore, with 10,000, 8,000, 12,000, 10,000, and add another 9,600 or 9,800 to that bottom one, nobody can say that you were laxed, nobody can say that you were lazy, and nobody can say that you were biased because you pulled about the same from every single factory or whatever you want to call it, campus or whatever, plant or whatever you want to call those plants. You pulled the same amount. And that's what you want. When you're doing probability and statistics, you don't want people to say, well, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. Well, you don't want that. And there will be people out there that does it. Question, gripe, complain. Now, you need to know what you're doing. If I ask you what is the probability of a face card in a deck of cards, okay, if you don't know what a deck of cards contain, you need to go out to Walmart tonight and get you a deck of cards. All right? Or just look it up on the internet. They usually tell you how many this, how many this, how many this, and how many this. All right, how many suits are there? 4. What are they? Hearts, diamonds, clubs, spades. There's 4 suits. How many of each suit?
13.
13, because 4 times 13 is what? 52. What does each one count? Well, face cards are 10. Numbered cards are the face value. And then what are aces? Aces can be what? 1 or 11. Okay, 1 or 11, whatever the case may be. So, if I asked you what the probability of face card is, you need to have that general knowledge. That would be, well, there's 4 face, because there's 3 face cards in each suit. 4 times 3 is what? So 12 over 52. And that is the Mayberry probability, or the theoretical probability, or the mathematical probability. The whole point is you should know that. If you don't know it, then you need to go get a deck of cards, you need to go to Google, and you need to start refreshing your memory on a deck of cards. What about a die? One of the missed questions on my test. The probability of rolling a 7 on a die.
Oh my God. Oh, just kidding.
30 people, I had 6 people miss that question.
On a
And these
single
people
die.
procreate. Why? Why do I make fun of those people?
There's no answer.
There's no 7 on the die. So it should be 0. Or cannot be done, or does not exist. You got to be aware, and you got to have knowledge of what you're being asked of. What if I ask you probability of an even number on a die? What would the probability of an even number be? All I heard was mumbling. And most of that mumbling was under your breath. What's the probability of an even number on a die? Now, usually I get the question, what's a die? Okay? Usually I get that question about now. Well, when you play a Monopoly, you play with two cubes that have numbers on them. Each one of those cubes is called a die. A pair of those cubes is called dice. You'd be surprised. I always get that number. What's a die? They're thinking of Easter egg color, or they're thinking of somebody dying. That's what they're thinking of. They don't know that one cube of a pair of dice is called a die. All right, so now that we got that out of the way, what is the probability of an even number? I saw that yawn.
3 out of 6.
Say again?
3 out of 6.
And what's another way of saying 3 out of 6?
1/2.
0.5 or 1/2. Now, those are two problems right there. What was the things that you needed to know? How many numbers on a die? What is a die? How many numbers? What numbers are not on a die? Which we're going to talk about that in a minute because that's called the complement. All right. So, what else you need to know about a deck of cards? You know how many are in a deck of cards. You got to know how many suits. You got to know how many are face cards. You got to know the number. What if I ask for the even numbers? Okay. What is the probability of pulling an even card? Well, you might have to draw it out. Even card. Well, let's draw it out. Okay, there's ace, which that don't work because that's a 1 or 11. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is no joke. I actually have people who don't know what cards go up to. Okay, so you got to know. All right? And then what? Jack, king, and queen. And these are all evens. So let's count how many evens we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times 4 is what? So 32 over what? 52. And reduce that down to whatever. I don't care about the reducing. Y'all can do that with a fraction, or you can do it with a calculator, decimal. Do what the directions say. I don't care about that. Okay. Now, what did you need to know there? You needed to know how many cards there are. I've had some people say, well, don't cards go up to 12? No. You seen a card with 6 numbers on one side, or 6 hearts on one side and 6 hearts on the other? No. See, you've got to be aware. You've got to have knowledge of these things. The die and okay, here's one. The roulette table. Now, you don't have to know the numbers that are on it. What's a roulette table? Not dice, but a marble. You spin it around. It's got colors on it, black and red, with green, and they're usually numbered from 0 to 38 or 0 to 40, and the 2 green ones have 0 and 00. You spin the wheel one way, counterclockwise, and you put the marble in there clockwise or vice versa, and you wait until the marble does what?
It's a number.
Fall into a slot. And if you hit black, then you win, and you put your money on black, and you win not as much money if you hit the number. Now, if you hit the number and the color, then you win a whole lot more money. And we're going to talk about that too, because that's called odds. We're going to talk about that. Now, a while ago, I'm going to talk about the complement. Miss Grant, what time is it? 1:30. 1:30. I got to be at Pendleton at 3. So I'm going to let y'all out at 2. I'm going to let y'all out before then. I got to go to Pendleton. I got a meeting up there. We don't have the technology to do Skype, so I have to go up to Pendleton for a 30-minute meeting.
30 minutes? That's a waste of time.
It is. but I'm at a college where students make fun of us after they get out and they go to meetings with Polycom and stuff like this, and we can't do it for a 30-minute meeting 15 miles away. But anyway, I'm sorry, I'll shut up. What is the complement? Well, the complement is what makes up the whole. And I like to think of this as a marriage. Okay? Think of a marriage. I don't care, however you want to think of a marriage. I'm going to think of a marriage as a man and woman. Okay? I'm sorry. Man and woman. All right? What's the saying behind every man is a what?
Wonderful woman.
They're a wonderful woman. Yeah, wonderful. How about good? It's supposed to be good, I believe. But a good woman. All right? It doesn't go the other way around. Sorry, guys, but that's usually true. It's usually a good woman. But anyway, because men are usually. No, we won't go there. All right, now the whole point is the two people, and you do the candle thing, and you do the one candle and two, and everybody says the one whole. The two people make up a what? A whole. All right. Think of that when you think of complement. All right. Usually there's a whole generated. A whole, like W-H-O-L-E, not like a time-rift hole, nothing like that. But usually there's a whole. All right, now let's think of it like this. If I tell you that I'm using $1. I know that lunch at school does not cost this anymore, but I'm using it because it's easier to do than $2 or $3, so I'm going to do $1, okay? Let's say that lunch costs 65 cents, all right? And you give your daughter or son $1. Then what is the complement of the 65 cents to the $1, which is the whole? 35 cents. Okay? Now you can do that however you want to with today's cost of lunches. I don't know how much they are because I don't pay mine. I do pay mine, but I ain't getting into that. But anyway, the whole point is you got to think of it as a whole. What if I say there's a company here that we're going to see who's in the Marlboro Club, all right? And there's 500 people in the company, and 300 are in the Marlboro Club. What's the complement of 300 to the whole? How many are in the company? I said 500, Jeeper. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so there's 300 in the Marlboro Club. So who's not in the Marlboro Club? 200, that's the complement to the whole. You got to remember, the whole is n. Whatever the biggest number, write that down. N is always your biggest number, and n is usually the whole. Now, when we talk about marriage, we're talking about two people. So one's a man, one's a woman, one's a woman, one's a woman, one's a man, one's a man. Whatever, you dog, cat, whatever you want to marry together, okay? The whole point is you've got to think, okay, can that be 500 as well as 2? Yes, it can. What about colors? Think about it. What's the complement of black? White. Why'd you say white? Why didn't you say yellow? Because one is the absence of color, one is the what? Presence of color. It's the opposite. Okay? What about, I'm going to trick you here because think about this one. What is the complement of guilty? Is it?
Not guilty.
Actually, the complement is innocent. But why do we use not guilty? Because there's two different. Is O.J. innocent? Hell to the no. Okay? That man had something to do with that killing. I'm sorry, but that man had something to do with whether he did it with somebody else, or whether him and that crazy long-headed mullet guy did it. I don't know what his name was, Cato or something. Or he hired somebody. That man had something to do with that killing. All right? That's it. All right. So why? Well, let's say Miss Grant works at Domino's. Okay? And she's a very good employee at Domino's. And she goes there. She's like the assistant manager. She goes in every day at 5, and she gets off at 11. She gets in her car. She goes home, watches a movie, does homework, goes to bed, starts all over again, goes to school the next day. Very, very monotonous, very routine-ish. Okay? And let's say that Miss Shobe is her roommate. And Miss Show is all over the place, like a ping pong ball. And Miss Show don't have a car, okay? She barely has a paycheck, and she sponges off of Miss Grant all the time, all right? Well, Miss Grant has to go to work one Saturday night, or let's say Friday afternoon, okay? And Miss Show needs to go do things. So Miss Show says, can I borrow your car? Well, I've got to go to work. Miss Grant says, I've got to go to work at 4:30 or 4. I got to go to work at 3. Well, can I come get your car? Yes. Okay. So she gets a ride. Miss Show gets a ride and gets the car at Domino's. And she goes in, and Miss Grant gives her the keys, and she takes off. What time you get off? Oh, I get off at 11. Okay. I'll have it back by 10:30. I'll have it back. Well, Miss Show needed some money. So Miss Show decides she's going to go to the QT and wrap the chain around the ATM and pull out the ATM and steal it with Miss Grant's car. Or Miss Show decides she's going to go rob a bank. It's at 4:30, all the money is coming in with paychecks. Be a lot of cash in there, buddy. So, make the whole long story short, she decides she's going to rob a bank or steal an ATM. Okay? So, boom, 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 she does that, and come Monday or Tuesday, the cameras at the bank pick up the license plate. And guess what? They come and pull up to Miss Grant, and she's at school trying to better herself like she should. Okay. The whole point is Miss Grant innocent, or is she not guilty?
When they turn the charge her find guilty of possession.
That's what I'm saying. No, you're reading too much into it. Is she innocent, or is she guilty, or not guilty?
She's not guilty.
She is 100% innocent. She will never see her day in court. Why?
She didn't commit.
Because not only does the bank have cameras, who else have cameras? Domino's has cameras. And Domino's also has 15 people that says that Miss Grant was at Domino's from 3 o'clock till 11:30 cleaning up. She never will see a day in court. Well, why did O.J. see a day in court? O.J. couldn't tell where he was that night. I don't remember. Well, that's convenient. Why was he not innocent? Because he could not prove where he was when the accident happened. That's why you see your day in court. That's why you're proven innocent until proven what? You're innocent until proven what? Guilty. And then if you can't prove guilt, it's not guilty, it's not innocent. There's a difference between innocent and not guilty. But what we think of as the complement of guilty is not guilty, as y'all said, not guilty. That's usually it, because that's what the court is for. If you're innocent and you can prove you're innocent, you won't see a day in court. You see what I'm saying? There's a difference between them. What's the opposite? What's the complement of truth? False. What's the complement of... I run out of compliments, but anyway, I can't think of any more compliments right now without giving you a big number, but the complement is what makes up the whole. There is no maybe in a true-false question, right? You know, the sky is blue, true or false? There's no, well, it's a little bit on the pink side. No, it's not maybe, it's true or false. That's what makes up the question. What makes up the whole, black or white. That's it. So the complement is going to be the opposite of this. What is 32 from 52? So the probability of not a face card, and I show face card, not a face card with an X in it, but they do it with a little line right here. Okay? What is the probability of not picking a face card? 20 over what? Now, where did I get the 20 over 52? It's the complement of 32 over 52. So you need to know what a complement is. So today, let's see, we've covered so far, I don't know what time. Okay, we're going to quit here in a second because I don't want to go over odds yet. So today we talked about what is probability. We've talked about what the two types of probability are. We've talked about the large number rule. And we've talked about the complement. Now, we are only in, I don't know what, unit 4? Okay, I skipped a couple of sections in chapter 4. We'll go back to them. I think we're in 5. Somebody look in your outline, I believe, where it says probability. I believe it's 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've skipped 4.1 and 4.2. Do not do 4.1 and 4.2. We will do that next week. I want you to work on, if you're going to work on, I said if because I really don't want you working on it if you don't want to, is 5.1, but I'm not ready for you to work on it yet. But if you want to, if you're feeling spry, go ahead and work on it, but you don't have to because I really haven't finished 5.1 yet. Do not do 4.1 and 4.2 because all it's going to do is confuse you. So, who's that? Can't use more power like that. Anyway, y'all have a good weekend. And I will see y'all when? Okay, I might not see you Tuesday. I'll send y'all an email, okay?
Okay.
Because I've got to go to that meeting because it's a Polycom meeting, but I have to go to it. It's Pendleton, of course, so I have to go to it. We can do it by Polycom, but no.
Hey, are y'all with anything?
Yeah.
Hello? You said no.
Easily, y'all have a good day. See y'all.
Thank